Well, these shards aren't going to pull themselves. Hello everyone, Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on my alt at the moment to pull some shards for Fabian. Now we have the event here, so this is going to be fun. We have the Summon Rush. It is definitely a little more expensive to get Lightward Cylindra than I was looking for, but I actually do have 12 Sacred Shards on this account. However, on this account, and we will be pulling on my main a little bit later, but on this account, I've got a Teox, and I would actually really like a Sulfurion. So we are actually going to pull until we get a legendary and then recalculate how many sacred shards I will need to pull. At the moment, if I pull all 28 voids, I will need 6 sacreds. So that's effectively, you know, half the sacreds I would need otherwise to get this using these void shards. And that's fine. Sulfurion will be absolutely amazing. Yes, I might end up missing out a little bit on a 2x voids on this account, but we still probably have, well, at least 2 weeks to, 3 weeks actually, because it's not going to be 2x voids next weekend. It's going to be 2x ancients, or at least it should be, because we've had voids more recently. So I am unfortunately not as near Mercy as I would certainly like. And as far as the other champion I would like from this, I would like Godseeker. Now, honestly, all of these champions are great. I would love a Marichka on this count, and I would love a Selena. But honestly, Sulfurion would transform this account more, because I really could use him to pair with Teox, and that would be very helpful. But it would also be helpful for, well, it'd be helpful for all kinds of areas in the game, because Sulfurion is absolutely amazing. I think that would transform one of my Hydra teams as well. So I think he's going to be good on this account, so that's why I'm going to be pulling for him. Normally, again, I don't necessarily recommend pulling for these off of a 2x. That said, for some of these endgame accounts, when you're looking for very specific champions, sometimes it actually makes sense to go for a progressive rather than the 2x, because it's not like any champion is what you're looking for. Sometimes you're looking for specific champions, although that probably applies a little bit more to ancients and sacreds than it does to voids. But we are going to give this a go. We've got 28 of them here, so we are going to pull 8 single pulls and then 2 10 pulls, or maybe we'll just, you know, not, and I'll get a legendary early. Reliquary Tender, good reviver and cleanser for a rare. Definitely worth keeping one of them, even if you're late game, could be useful. Ripper Fist, not particularly exciting. Panthera, not particularly exciting. Doing my dailies, that's great. Gear Grinder, I like Gear Grinder. He was one of the better rare revivers. Obviously, Tree Shield Knot, I think, is now better. But he's got a dead ally with 50-50 on a 5-turn cooldown. It's not great, but it's not bad. But he's got a chunky heal here, 15% of their max HP, and it books to a 3-turn cooldown with some extra bonuses right here. So that's actually a pretty decent heal, and then he throws continuous heals up on his A1 as well. So he's actually a pretty decent support. I'd recommend at least squirreling one of them away. He could be helpful for some of the secret rooms as well. Tree Shield Knot, certainly a little bit better now in Reviver, but not too bad for a rare. Ragemonger, not particularly exciting. Come on, let's get something cool. Bellower? Okay, I'll count that as cool. Bellower is all about the AoEs, but he's also got a black active skills on the A1, 30% chance, but it's an A1. Pretty good decreased speed on the A2, decent chance of landing it. It's the small version again, but you can certainly, you know, build him with the Nature's Bounty, I think, that puts this into a large one. He's great with Nature's Bounty. And then another AoE here with decreased attack and decreased defense. Again, if you put him in Nature's Bounty, these could be the big versions. Got a Faction Crypt Speed Aura. He actually can hit pretty hard. He can be a campaign farmer through Brutal for very fast speeds, and you can put him in a stun set if you want to, or you can build him for damage. He's a good champion. I actually built him for damage on my alt to get through Ogryn, because I couldn't find an Ogryn damage dealer. When I pulled him, even at level 50, he was a better damage dealer than a lot of the Ogryns were that I happen to have. But not what we're looking for in this account. I've got Bellowers built already. Hello, there we go. I was going to say the game was taking a while to load that legendary we're pulling, so, but no. All right, so we have 20 more of these to go. I did mention before, we do have a Pepsi. They are not a sponsor, but they could be. Pepsi, think about it. Think of all the legendaries we could help people get. I blew that up. Maybe that's why I'm not their spokesperson. We'll see. All right, just think of all the legendaries, Pepsi, you can help people get. Think of all the good you could do, and all you got to do is sponsor me. 10 pull. Let's get a legendary. Gala Long Braids. She's kind of like a mini Necrit. Not Necrit. Rhodos. Mini Rhodos. Very, very different champions. She's got extra turns. She does shields. He hits really hard. Good champion. Cold Heart, always amazing. I don't need any more Cold Hearts on this channel. Renegade, good. We're not going to argue about Harrier or Ashwalker, although they were next to each other, which I think is a violation of some convention. Dead at the Tusk Knight, pretty good champion. Armenting Skeleton, very bad champion. Painkeeper, absolute goats. Love Painkeeper. Painkeeper is great because she's got this decreased cooldown skill on a 4-turn cooldown, and this can be decreased by other decreased cooldown skills. So you can stack multiple Painkeepers up and kind of build yourself a Kymar type champion. She's also got a really good AoE heal. It does okay damage, not great. She does not do a ton of damage. And then she gives herself some extra turn meter on the A1. Lots of really good utility with this champion. And that was that. So it looks like we are here on the Sacred Shards. I am 20 into Mercy, which means that we are talking 6 plus 12 or plus 14 actually. Plus 12, that's right. So we're talking 18% to legendary, and it's only going to go up by 2% every time I pull a shard. So there is a very good chance on these 6 shards I'm going to hit a legendary. So let's hope it's a good one. That is not a good one. That is an Infernal Baroness. That is a Lady Atessa, not a particularly great champion either. That is a Torture Helm, not particularly exciting. There's a legendary, and that is a Bambus 4-leaf. That is very disappointing. Bambus is not a great champion. He's got some weird uses, but honestly, I don't like how his kit works. I think he is super awkward. I think he is very difficult to use, and I do not expect to build him on this account. And honestly, if I were starting a new account with a Bambus, I would probably not. I really, really don't like Bambus. I think he's not a good champion. So he's got a sleep on the A1, not horrible, but places on himself, which seems really weird. Decreased speed, and then A2 is attacks all enemies before taxing, places shield buffs on all allies. Before attacking, has a 75% chance of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. If the attack lands as a weak hit, even if the attack lands as a weak hit, also increases the value of any shield buffs on all allies by 2 turns. For each enemy buff, that its duration decreased by the skill. Okay-ish, but again, he's got a 4-turn shield skill that can reduce the duration of cooldowns. Not very great. Then sleeps himself. Target an enemy places 50% increased attack and increased accuracy on all allies for 2 turns first. Decent for bomb champions. Then has a 75% chance of placing an enfeeble debuff on the target for enemy for 2 turns. The enfeeble debuff cannot be placed on bosses. Also has a 75% chance of placing decreased accuracy debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Not horrible buffs. And then finally sleeps himself, and the sleep cannot be blocked or resisted. Really weird champ. Now the reason he sleeps himself is that he transfers all debuffs of this champion enemy to the highest resistance. If sleep debuffs are removed in this champion by this champion's passive skill, it cannot be resisted. So basically, he takes all the debuffs and sends them to the enemy if he wakes up from his own sleep, which is fine. It's usable against Dragon, which is really the only place it's really usable. Dragon hard, but it's very awkward, and it's just weird. So I don't really care for him. I think he's kind of awkward. I don't think his kit brings a lot to the table for most teams. So honestly, this is a legendary that I think needs a rework. And I say rework because he's kind of some interesting mechanics, but I think the whole he's asleep, if he gets woken up, things happen, is just kind of not a great mechanic. There's not a lot of places in the game where this is of any use. And it's just kind of unfortunate because I think his kit could be interesting, but he just doesn't do a lot. And he's got long cooldowns too. This is a 4-turn cooldown skill. This is a 4-turn cooldown skill. Just not a great champion, and a really difficult champion if you got him early on. We got 2 left. Maybe we can get another legendary. Mausoleum Mage. He was mostly known for this A2 with a bunch of extra buffs. So he's got 3 different buffs on here, which is great for Seer to strip off back when she needed this sort of thing. He's got a cleanse as well. Not a bad champion. Certainly would have preferred to pull him on my free-to-play than some of the stuff I pulled on my free-to-play. You'll certainly see that video first. But he's okay. All right, last Sacred. That's another legendary. and that is a Cupidus. Well, I don't have a Cupidus on this account, so I'll call that a win. Cupidus has certainly been power crept and is not as good as he used to, and I don't have a Venus on this account, so Cupidus is going to have some limited use from that end as well. But he is all about this AoE A1 is absolutely amazing. He's got an A2 that also attacks everybody and puts HP burn up. These are both really good abilities for Hydra. He puts his own increased attack and then does a burn on one champion, and burn on other champions if he kills the person he targets, and that can't be resisted. That's a pretty decent skill as well. He's not a bad champion. He's a decent champion, but he has definitely been power crept. Where he gets is this passive here, 25% more damage and always counterattacks when attacked if Venus is on the same team. And that's what made him really, really cool. If you had Venus with him, he was constantly counterattacking with this A1 and getting 25% more damage just flat, which made him absolutely amazing to pair with her in all kinds of different comps. Now, his damage has certainly been power crept eventually. He's really good in Slayer set. I like him. I just don't use him too often on my main, and I have a Venus there. But, you know, good champion. I am not going to be too upset with two legendaries, one bad, one mediocre. I really do think Bambus needs a buff. So we are going to just double check, make sure I got everything I needed. We got all the champions perfect. So I can grab all of this stuff except for the energy, which I will save for later. Oops, I guess I'm grabbing that energy now. And we'll be right back on my main. Alrighty, we are on the main. I have 10 sacreds, which you'll note is not 12. So I am also going to be making a 10 pull of void shards. A 10 shard of void pulls. Yeah, that sounds great. A 10 pull of void shards. I am going to go for Senna on this account because I would absolutely love a Senna. And then as far as here, we are going to go for you. And I've got a Rector fairly well empowered. I've got a couple of empowered. Actually, I don't think my Ugos are particularly well empowered. So let's go take a look for that quickly and I'll be right back. All right, I take that back. My Rectors are not particularly well empowered. I've got plenty of empowered Ugos, so I've actually never empowered a Rector. I was actually kind of surprised. So we are going to do the 10 pull of Void Shards first. We again have Pepsi. Pepsi, may you bless us. May you sponsor us at some point in time. Again, I will certainly offer this position to any beverage company that is willing to sponsor me. You too can be the drink of shard pulling for this channel. All right, let's get a 10 pull. Let's get a Senna. That would be absolutely awesome. Not expecting anything, but there's gold. That is a Leorius. I love Leorius. Leorius is absolutely amazing, and I am not going to complain about a duplicate Leorius. Now, Leorius is a duplicate, but Leorius was the first Void legendary I ever pulled on this account. So I've had a Leorius for a long time, and I absolutely love this dude. And I might empower him. I might keep him as a duplicate. I don't know. I'll have to actually check where my skinwalkers are. Leorius is still a top tier champion. He is still a very good damage dealer. He's been power crept a little bit with damage, but not too horribly, and his kit's got so much utility. You can use him in areas beyond the arena, but he's a great arena nuker. He's got an A1 decreased defense. He's actually got a decent chance of landing it. And it increases, damage increases by 20% if he has less than 60% HP, which is hilarious because he's also got more ways to increase that damage. This hits pretty hard as well. So if you build him with some accuracy, he can land decreased defense. He's got an A2 here, attacks all enemies 2 times, and then has a passive effect that as long as this is not on cooldown, he's immune to CCs of any kind. This is great in arena, and the double hitter is great for him downing Rhodoses, for example, and other champions that need multiple hits. So this is a very, very good skill for the arena. It does a good amount of damage. This is an AoE that does a True Fear and has a chance of placing weakened beforehand if you build him with some accuracy. This is again why he's actually a good all-around champion. If you build him with some accuracy, he can actually be an okay damage dealer in Hydra, for example. He is very, very good on wave-based content. I used him as my Minotaur farmer for a long time. He was one of my main arena nukers until he finally kind of got retired for both a combination of a Rhodos and a King Narcissus, which actually kind of lets you know how long I used him for, because King Narcissus only came around last year. So, but his passive is kind of what makes him amazing. He gets an unkillable on a 4-turn cooldown if he gets receives a fatal hit. So he basically keeps himself alive. Very Skullcrown-esque, I guess, for example. But because he's very, very hard to kill, this passive makes him very amazing. It is easy to block with a block buffs. So people that use block buffs to lock him out, you know, it's a problem. But can also lock him out with a block passive skills as well. But he's very hard to deal with in arena for a lot of people, especially early on. But it gives him a lot of extra survivability, and PvE still works great. His passive effect is that damage increases as this champion's HP decreases. So basically, if he is at 99% lost HP, he does 99% more damage. That's on top of this weird A1 passive where he does more damage with less than 60% HP, by the way. That's why that A1 can smack really hard. So basically, you attack him, somebody attacks him, he doesn't die. He's at 1 HP, which means he's at 99% bonus damage, and he turns around and smacks you for a hit that already hits pretty hard. But with basically almost doubling the damage, he's most likely going to kill a lot of people. Leorius is absolutely top tier, absolutely amazing. He's even got a nice little aura here, crit rate in all battles. I don't like using crit rate auras most of the time as far as relying on them is concerned, but if I got him early on in Faction Wars, this would absolutely be the aura I'd probably use, because this will help me build some damage dealers on the cheap and maybe help some other people do a little bit more damage. So great champion, and hey, we got a legendary. I was really close to Mercy, not more close to Mercy, but close to having hit on a previous champion on this account. So this is absolutely amazing. I will take an extra legendary, and then we are going to go over here and we are going to pull these 10 sacred shards. Hopefully we'll get a legendary here as well. I'm actually not quite sure where my Mercy is. Let's go check quickly. Okay, no, I am not going to hit Mercy in these 10 sacreds. So there's a chance we might not get anything exciting. We can hope. But let's get some legendaries. Come on, Pepsi, give me something cool. Ilsinia, fusion for Mikage, not particularly exciting otherwise. I mean, she's okay, but not great. Chani. Chani is kind of interesting. She gets this passive here where you have this extra crit rate based off of her accuracy. It's not a lot because it takes you 100 per accuracy to get 5%. You're going to build her with 200 accuracy, so it's 10% less crit rate. Now, it's a passive on her, so it's easy to count on at least, so it makes her a little bit easier to build, but it's not that exciting. Other than that, she has a increase the duration of all debuffs, chance on the AoE, hits okay for damage, can place burn of critical hits, just kind of okay. Poison sensitivity, she doesn't have any poisons though, so it's just kind of a weird little kit. She's okay, not great. Not bad. That is a Hoffreeze. He is a reviver for the Skinwalkers. If you don't have the rare reviver and you don't have the legendary reviver, then Hoffreeze is your dude. Probably a little better than the rare reviver. Although the rare reviver has some healing again, so I kind of like the rare reviver maybe a little bit better, and it's definitely easier to invest in. Hotatsu, he is a good dude. He is immune to a lot of the CCs. Puts some continuous heals and increased defense. Puts decreased attack out. And has a leech in the A1. He's okay. He's a good upper usefulness epic for people, but he's not a top tier epic either. So I know a lot of people are really over the top with him. I think he's just pretty good. Torture Helm, not exciting at all. That's a legendary, and that is a Goffred Blastclad. Now, I love this dude. I think this might be my third on this account, and if not, he will be a duplicate, so that'll be good. I do have one because I've got a 6-star blessing on him. He's fun. Feels like I was reading his kit last shard pull video I made. So decreased defense and provoke on the A1, stun AoE on the A2 is pretty good nuke. Removes decreased defense and weaken and puts an increased defense on everybody. This skill could use something a little bit more. It's not bad, but it really could use just a little bit more. Either an extra turn or, I mean, even if they increase the cooldown on this by 1. So it was a 4-turn cooldown, but gave him an extra turn. That would still be fine because this just doesn't do an awful lot for you. Or maybe a small turn meter boost or maybe a heal on everybody. I don't know. It needs to do something just a little bit more than this because this is not great. But he's got this wonderful passive where if somebody is about to die, he puts block damage on them, and then if they have block damage and they get hit, he can put stuns out as well. So good champion. I like him. I'll have to see if he is a duplicate or if he is a triplicate. Maybe I end up empowering my Goffred on this particular account, or maybe we'll empower somebody else. Well, we'll certainly see. He is a decent champion. He can be a good arena nuker for you if you need as well. He can be good in arena for that passive as well. Good champion overall. Not quite what I need on this account, especially considering I've got at least one of them. Lady Quillen, not particularly exciting. I think she's a Mikage fusion champion. Burren Gary, like this dude. He's got the passive that heals him, so he can be okay against Bommel. It's got strengthen and a shield, pretty nice to keep everybody alive. AoE stun, not too bad, and a provoke. Decent epic controller for Shadowkin, very helpful in faction wars, can be useful in all other areas of the game as well. Can solo Bommel with certain builds. Not as good as Lady Annabelle, but very good. Old Hermit Jorg, not too bad. He's got the mini Arbiter turn meter boost here and a revive. He's okay. Tagore is probably a little bit better, but you know, you could use both of them. I do on my alt, actually, or my free-to-play ad for today. And a Moonbeam, not super exciting. A1, A2, 3 times at random. AoE leech here. Not super exciting. Increased champion speed for each enemy under leech. Again, not super exciting. This is what, 10 points of speed unconditionally. Just not super exciting. So yeah. So that was an interesting set of shard pulls to say the least. Let's go check out the Guardian ring here. With Polarium, stop it. I don't want to spend money. All right. So we check out the faction guardians. Where are my dwarves? That's my demon spawn. My dwarves. All right. So I've actually got a duplicate Goffred as well. So we are going to empower Goffred. I think I'm going to hold off empowering him until the next champion training, because I can throw 10 brews into him, get him 30 levels as a level 6 champion, and that is a bunch of extra champion training points. So I will do that just a little bit later, but that's what we're going to do on that account. And hey, I appreciate you guys hanging around. Hopefully you got some absolutely amazing champions from your shard pulls. Hopefully you are on pace to get Fabian. Fabian looks like he's going to be an absolute banger. So we go here for the summon rush, and we should be all the way here. I could certainly pull just a little bit more for that legendary book if I wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to. Well, certainly see if I pull another sacred, whether or not I want to get that legendary tome. Legendary tomes are nice to have, and I'll certainly need to book Fabian at some point in time too. So maybe we'll do that if I get a couple more, but I'm probably not pulling any other type of shard at this point in time this weekend. So appreciate you guys hanging around. It has been absolutely awesome. Again, hopefully you get something really cool, and appreciate if you guys hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. And if you're looking to start a brand new account, check out that link below. It helps support me, gets you a Zargala, gets you an Ugo, 2 really good epics that will help you out in the early, mid, and late game as well. And you know, have some fun playing Raid Shadow Legends, have some fun pulling some shards, have a great weekend, and until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.